I made a video a few months back talking about how noted ball hawk Zach Hampel kinda sorta interfered with the home run in Tampa Bay, even if the call that ensued didn't end up going against him. I also briefly touched on his dubious reputation in the baseball space for activities that some would consider to be over the top. But he is polarizing in that he does have a contingent of defenders as well. However, we just saw a fan yesterday in Arizona pull a feat much more extreme than Zach, which also ended up revealing a controversial history of outright interference, 5 separate times at least. Before we get into it, I want to shout out JohnBoy Media and Taters on Twitter for putting together videos of this doofus at work. It was certainly helpful in my research. Now, we'll start with the first time he's on record doing this and go from there, being when Joey Bart in 2022 launched a fly ball deep to the left center field gap, a location you're going to get familiar with in this video. There, this dude proceeded to reach over the fence, make the catch, and then throw it back onto the field. Already a practice that in the modern age is looked down upon. After the umpires would confer, it was determined that this ball would not have left the park, turning it from its initially called home run into a double. We would start to see a pattern emerging on the second instance of this year later, in 2023, when Lourdes Gurriel Jr. crushed this ball to roughly the same spot, tying a game in the 9th inning, though only after the umpires would have to confer once more to make sure that the ball would have actually gotten over the fence. In this instance, if they had decided to rule against the D-backs, it could have possibly resulted in either an out or a double being called on what should have been a long ball, which certainly would have been a consequential and confusing move for what seems to be someone who cares about the Diamondbacks. He registered his second interference of that very same season later on with Christian Walker at the plate, this time versus the Cardinals, with a much more aggressive effort, outright competing with left fielder Tyler O'Neill as he went back to attempt to make a leap. Confirmed? Yes, but again, not until after a lengthy review. It was a similar story with the next one in 2024, this one off the bat of Eugenio Suarez. He definitely didn't make as egregious of an attempt here, but it still was enough to trigger another review, which would again confirm that this ball indeed was a home run. This takes us to our most recent example, and in my opinion the most insufferable, as this one actually came against his hometown team, and saw him make his most aggressive move for a ball, nearly falling onto the field as he caught this shot from Christian Koss, outright robbing Tim Tawa of his attempt at a leaping grab, ending up resulting in the play being called a double after another umpire meeting. Then, in a move that personally pissed me off while watching, he actually flipped the ball to Tim afterwards, I'm guessing in response to something the outfielder said, only to see it get flipped back nearly immediately after. From what I can find, in most of these cases, he was indeed removed from the field, but for some reason not at any point permanently banned from Chase, where the Diamondbacks play. I'm gonna guess they just weren't aware of the pattern. But now that they most assuredly are, let me say, I've been to enough Major League games to know that people like this make the experience insufferable for everybody else around them, and I am fully in support of kicking this guy out permanently, especially when considering that he literally posts about it on Instagram as if he's proud of it, including on the Bart one, where he literally acknowledged that he was called for interference. Now, thank you so much for watching, and please remember that if you ever see anything you'd like to see detailed in the Made the Cut video, whether that be a specific play, player, or narrative surrounding a team or something, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I do end up using your idea, I'll of course give you a shout out. Thank you so much once again, and I'll see you in the next one.